All right, good morning. Greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for joining us here today, Monday. Lions Talk Live, and you know what we've got just to get through this week before we get to the big week. Hey, the start of training camp, the start of everything we want. NFL fans everywhere are rejoicing that, hey, the time is limited for the downtime, the off season, whatever. You're almost to the season beginning, so let's get after it. We got a couple things for you guys today. Is ESPN, as you can tell from the thumbnail for today's show, came out yesterday on the radio stations, and hey, you had some of the guys talking about teams with the most expectations and thus under the most pressure this year. We all remember what the Detroit Lions were just a couple years ago. One of the worst teams in pro sports, and let's be honest, if you were to go to sell them, you might not get that much for them. But how quickly things have changed. You all know the story. Hey, MCDC was brought in. Brad Holmes was brought in. Jared Goff left for dead, brought on over, whatever it is. Now the Detroit Lions are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Let that sink in for a long time, Lions fans. This is whole new territory. Not seen in at least 30-some years, and let's be honest, while the 90s had some ups, they also had some real downs. So you really got to go back to the 1950s, maybe you could say somewhat of the 60s, the last time the Lions were this relevant. And yes, Dan Campbell as a coach is going to be under a lot of pressure this year. They're going to be under a lot of scrutiny. Jared Goff, every time he makes a mistake, people are going to be analyzing that contract and all the details within. But before we get to today's main topic of the day, ESPN's take on the Detroit Lions and everything they had to say, let's get into a few things. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are, we'll say, roughly 30 subs away from hitting 6,900, and the march really is on to get to 7,000. So if you can help out, if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Also, while you're watching the video, if you could just take a brief moment of time, it's free of charge, takes less than half a second, hit that thumbs up button, helps the channel out, helps the show out a lot, and we try to get every video between 200 to 300 thumbs up or likes, whatever you want to call it. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Last but never least, if you are looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text. Hey, you see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Let's have a real quick conversation, see what I can do to help you out, put some extra cash in your pocket, make the process a whole lot easier. You know, if you're stressed about something you don't know or don't know enough about, give me a call, shoot me a text. Let's have that conversation, see what we can do. If you're outside the state of Michigan, you can still contact me, but there's just a couple things we got to do a little differently. All right, we are Lions Talk Live. We are getting the show going, and just so you know, at the bottom of the hour, we've got a special guest for you this week, or for today. We got Matt Ehler from M Live, so Michigan Live. He's going to join us in. Longtime Lions beat reporter, photographer, etc. He's going to come on in and share some of his insider information with the new crew and anybody watching this show either live or in the future. So go ahead, check them out. This week we got a pretty packed lineup for guests for you guys. Let me pull it up for you guys this week. Like I said, we have M Live's Matt Ehler coming on today. Tomorrow we have Mike Kipp, or Hutch Jr. He runs that podcast out of the greater Jackson and, Marshall area. We'll just say Midwest Michigan. Ant-Man from Lions Roar UK will join us Wednesday. Kurt Steele, the infamous one, will be here Thursday. And we've got the Sarge, Tony Libretto, signed up for Saturday. He's going to help us do our preseason prediction video on the Detroit Lions, who's going to make the roster, what we're going to get on a game-by-game basis out of Detroit as far as wins and losses, all those type of details. Also, we're trying to fill in, if most of you guys probably know Mark Orm from Orm's Forum, we're going to try to get him on either Sunday or Friday. So jam-packed week for you guys. If you're watching the live show, you get to see quite a few different people come on in. And then Krista Robertson is also trying to free up some of her booking assignments to get on the air. Most of you guys may know who she is. Hey, she's a media influencer in many different forms, not just sports, but she's into different theater, production, etc. So she is known across multiple different types of social media platforms. All right, enough with the jibber jabber. If you're not new to the channel, you probably already know this, but we're going to get into our burning topic of the days, or 5 topics now. have 5 headlines now. We kick off the show with that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get over to 5 headlines now. Probably need to find a way where I can adjust that volume a little bit on there, but it is what it is. All right, 5 headlines now. Let's get rolling with it. Dan Campbell calls Lions playoff win over the Rams, quote, most electric, end quote, game he's ever seen. And that's from Lions Wire, story by Jeff Risdon. Jeff Risdon, who's been on the show a time or two. Hey, we got to get him booked probably before the season gets going. Get him back over to talk to the Duke crew. But at any rate, Def Jeff goes on to talk about this interview he does with MCDC. And I think if you watch the game live, every Lions fan, we all remember it. If you're any kind of level Lions fan, the fact it had been a gajillion years since we've hosted a playoff game, let alone won a playoff game. Hey, the city of Detroit was shaking and baking. Lions fans everywhere were on the top of their seats, whether at home or at the stadium. Everybody was on cloud 9. And when you won the game, I think everybody gets it, the place exploded. You got all the different stories of different fans from that seen the last championship game or whatever, fans in hospice, the whole shebang. Watch the Netflix series Receiver if you don't know what I'm talking about. When they get to that point in the season, you hear St. Brown, his family, the fans, everybody around talk about it. It was a special moment for every Lions fan. All right, Lions key 2024 betting odds. How does Vegas feel about the Lions Super Bowl chances? Question mark. That's from Sports Illustrated. So, hey, I won't give a spoiler alert, but if you want to know what Vegas is thinking, along with some of the major media outlets, you might want to go check this one out before the season gets here. I don't bet myself, but I know some of you guys do. I don't know. Maybe somehow it helps your fantasy teams. I really don't know that much about fantasy football either. But if you want to check it out, just a kind of a side read for your week or today, go ahead and dive into that. All right, unbelievable story here, but this is from the AP, the Associated Press. Dan Campbell nearly didn't go into coaching. He talks about, when he first got done as a player, he didn't really think coaching was for him. And, hey, obviously we all have a different kind of raised eyebrow, like, wow moment. How could that be? But, yes, Dan Campbell goes into the story, gives details about some of the other things he was considering doing with his post-NFL playing career life. So go ahead and check that out if you like. ESPN ranks all 32 NFL rosters, including Titans, ahead of the 2024 season. This is from USA Today, story by Mike Moratis. Moratis, I think you guys get it. He covers the Detroit Lions, but he also covers the NFL in a whole or in an entirety. So he dives into it, gives his thoughts on each of the teams. I won't say where he's got the Lions ranked. I'll let you guys read it. But go ahead and check that out if you want. And, yeah, enjoy the story. All right, and then the last one of our 5 headlines now. Where Detroit Lions offensive tackles landed in rankings of NFL execs, coaches, scouts. Sporting news story by Mark Moratis. So, Moratis, yeah, he's working overtime, getting things ready for the season. And you can see the story. Lions, as you're probably not surprised, have a pretty good ranking here because of their quality of their offensive tackles. All right, now we're going to go into a little clip before we get into the main topic of the day. I figured I'd go back and just try to remember, before we get into the main topic, the pressure MCDC and the Detroit Lions are under. I thought, hey, while we got a free second here, let's go back in time and remember what it was like to go off the field in Detroit. In San Francisco right before the season came to a conclusion. The Lions had just lost. They're getting ready to get everything packed up and get out of there. So let's go ahead and try to remember what it was all like for MCDC and the Detroit Lions at that point. So go ahead and cue this up.
No, it's not the result you wanted. No, the emotions are fresh. What was your message to your group?
Well, it's hard. It's hard when it's a special group, and when you have the season we had, you're doing things right, and but it hurts when you get this far, because when you lose, you just feel like everybody else, and it's hard to get here, man. It's hard, and you got to make the most opportunity. We weren't able to do that. They did. Credit to Shanahan and that team, man, and we knew they wouldn't go away. But ultimately, I told them, don't forget that feeling when we're walking in and they're celebrating and they're hoisting a trophy and they're the representative of the NFC. And, we're told to get out of that area so the celebration can start. And don't you ever forget that. That's what should motivate you to get back.
All right, just real quick. Hey, that's some of the emotions any coach or any player go through after, especially a big, meaningful loss. Something like that where, hey, you knew this was an opportunity for you. The expectations through the roof. Anybody who's been a Lion for more than a minute gets that, hey, the Lions have been, eons since they've had an opportunity to get to a title game. Super Bowl they've never been in since the title game's been called the Super Bowl. So, hey, we all get it. The Lions were feeling a lot of emotions. ESPN's story, let's get into the main topic now, but ESPN's story, I think, kind of highlights that. And you know what? I agree with some of the things they have to say as somebody who's been a coach for 35 years now. So let's go ahead and get into the main topic of the day. Kind of wakes you up in the morning, don't it, that music? All right. All right, so MCDC, ESPN, they talk about it. We get it. The Lions last year had a golden opportunity to make the Super Bowl. MCDC talks about it in the video clip that, hey, who knows if we'll ever get there again or whatever. It's just so much emotion, such a letdown of emotion when you walk off the field and you're not the champion. When your last game isn't a win, it is deflating. I can remember different times in my life, different games, and you thought, man, this is the worst feeling ever. Probably one of the best feelings I'll take to my grave as a coach. It's one time, 2002, something like that. Team I was coaching, we were facing a team that had won the championship like the last 4 years in a row, and we had an opportunity to play them. The prior coach the year before, this is the first year I took over this particular franchise. I had lost this team by a gajillion points, like 60-some points. So we went out there, faced them, somehow actually beat them in overtime, and I was on cloud 9. The opposite side of that is when you've built up a franchise or in this case, a college program, and you are the expected team to go out there and do something, and then you lose in the playoffs, especially if it's late in the playoffs, sort of like Detroit Lions last year, making it just a stone's throw away from the Super Bowl. Let me tell you, there's nothing worse on planet Earth, because I can tell you in my situation when we've lost those games, it takes weeks to get over that. I mean, you might be a zombie for 2 or 3 days before you start kind of crawling back up into planet Earth or into life. So Detroit Lions, ESPN story is that, hey, Jared Goff got paid this year. Jared Goff, while I think most people watching this show or channel are going to say, hey, that's our quarterback, that's our guy, Jared Goff. But let's not also be oblivious to the fact that there are a lot of people out there that are Goff naysayers. Every time he makes a mistake, they are going to try to drop the hammer on him, say, see, I told you so, should have went with this guy, shouldn't have paid this dude, should have used that money somewhere else, et cetera, et cetera. MCDC, while he is incredibly popular across all media platforms, hey, you've got people talking about him being, jokingly, they're talking about he should be the next men's soccer coach for the United States national team. All that being said, there's still a lot of people that are naysayers on him because, hey, there's the perception he's a meathead. He's a big dude. He's strong. He works out. He can't possibly have any kind of IQ or intelligence. Well, what was he doing going for it on fourth down? What was he doing this or that? People love you until they hate you. They love you until they no longer need you, and that's just the reality of coaching. It's the reality of being a quarterback, and it's the reality the Lions will face this year. I have predicted that the Lions will start the season off 8-0. That doesn't mean they will, though. And if the Lions come out of the gate flat, if they lose a couple games they probably shouldn't, you're going to see a lot of people start jumping on their backs. DC's back, Jared Goff's back. I mean, everybody's going to be under the microphone. And that's, I guess the good part is when you're a winning franchise, that's what you face. But if they don't handle that well, because we haven't seen them in that situation, that's what the radio crew was talking about yesterday on ESPN about the Detroit Lions. So, all right, you guys have heard the main topic of the day. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think MCDC is going to feel pressure he hasn't felt before? Same with Jared Goff. My personal take is FCDC, we have to see. Jared Goff at this point in his career, he's probably faces as many odd or pressure-filled situations as he's going to. So let's see what the Duke crew has to say. Good morning to everybody, and we've got about 15 minutes till the bottom of the hour with Matthew Ehler will join us from M Live to debate all things Detroit Lions. And let's see what some of his thoughts are leading into training camp. All right, JDC going to kick us off. Good greetings, salutations, everyone. Back at you, Detroit D. Excuse me. Sorry, read the wrong one there. But Detroit D says greetings and salutations, everyone. Back at you. Hopefully, having a great morning, even though I haven't had a Mountain Dew yet. My bad, D. All right, JDC. Good morning, all. Good morning to you too. Stephanie. Good morning, boys! Exclamation point. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I heard them talking about this on the radio. Yes, we'll be under the gun this year. We will be. It's there's just no way around it. You want to win. You want to be a team that has a lot of things going on. You got a lot of expectations. Then you're going to have to handle the good with the bad with stuff. And yes, the Detroit Lions, they're going to have high expectations. There's nobody watching this show that's hoping, hey, let's just get 6 to 8 wins this year. Realistically speaking, the expectations are 12, 13, 14. I mean, I get some people are going to pick us to have 15 wins. But all that goes out the window if you don't get to the Super Bowl. And I really do believe, not just be cliche here, but it is Super Bowl or bust this season for the Detroit Lions. All right, Bo, good morning, Duke crew. Don't stop, Dan, exclamation point. I see Super Bowl. Woo! And good morning to you, too. The first woo of the show. So what do you know? We'll get a... Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's see. Clark Griswold, greetings, salutations all. Who has it better than Detroit? Question mark. Nobody! Exclamation point. Because we've got the tools and we've got the talent. It's Miller time. Nice Ghostbusters reference there, Clark. And yes, I agree. We've got the tools. We've got the ability. Now it's time to go out there and get it. All right, Detroit D. I'm so excited for our defense this year, especially our secondary. Lots of exclamation points. I believe Rakestraw is going to surprise people early. He is one of the players that I think really will benefit from the style of defense we play. We all get it. He's not the biggest dude in the world. He's, not the, as far as girth or mass. But this guy, if you watch his hips, you watch his foot placement, you watch his agility, he's off the chart, man. He is sticky good. He's going to have to learn to adjust to the NFL level. I get that. But I think by maybe the middle of the season, you'll see significant growth out of him, like you will most rookies. So I'm with you, D. I think he could be real good given time in the NFL. All right, see, Big Eddie, good morning, Duke crew. Yes, sir. We will face a different type of pressure. Everyone is going to want us. Everyone is going to want to beat us. Each and every game will be a battle. I think you're spot on. If you go back to last year, we can all say, hey, the Lions haven't seen pressure before. They've never been the hunted before. I would somewhat disagree because of last year. They came in with so much expectations off that phenomenal finish 2 years prior. And you look at how that it affected things later in the year once the Lions, started getting more and more media attention. So look at the first game at Ford Field against the Bears, the big comeback win with whatever it was, like 3-4 minutes to go. The Bears were pretty stoked to play the Lions. I mean, they came out and they played their A game. And then just 4 days later, you had the Packers come in. And kind of the same thing. In both of those games, I do believe the Lions kind of overlooked the other team. I do believe they didn't have their A game. But it's going to happen over the course of a season. You're not going to play at the top every game, so you got to find ways to deal with it when things aren't always at their best. And give Detroit credit. They did win one of those games. They did lose one of those games. But, yes, I think they're going to use that, and they'll be pretty familiar with it this year. But that being said, you're going to face a tougher schedule. You're going to face some teams who are just as eager to make the playoffs as you. So, yeah, somebody's going to want to steal your thunder. All right, Big Eddie, I hope you're right at Detroit D watching Rake's highlights. I really like what I see. Yeah, hard to not like what you're seeing out of him because he is so good with things. He is so – I mean, he's a special player when it comes to man-to-man coverage principles. I don't know if I want him out there hitting people all day long, but as far as keeping up with him, staying locked on him, I think, Rake's going to be a nice addition to the Detroit Lions secondary for years to come. All right, Mike the Marine Gunny, howdy, Dan, the Duke Crew family. Dan Campbell and others have said, do your job. Yeah, woo! I'll go with that, Gunny. And yes, just do your job. Don't do somebody else's. Focus on yours. I'd say Moonscar, hey, welcome back, man. Good morning, Duke Crew! Exclamation point. Getting so close. Many questions soon will be answered. I agree. There's a whole lot of speculation about this, that, and the other thing. Not just for who's going to start, who's going to play, etc., but how the season's going to unfold. And hope you had a great trip and time away there, Moonscar. Trey D, if Arnold and Rakestraw hit the ground running this year, Davis may not be re-signed next year. That is a possibility. I, personally, just being selfish here, I hope they all play great and we keep them all just because that makes us better. But you could be right, man. You could just say, hey, Arnold's going to, and after this upcoming year, Arnold's going to be your one. Maybe Rakestraw is the slot guy, the number 3. And then, I don't know, maybe Robertson or somebody else would be the number 2. But we'll see what unfolds. All right, Darcy, what do you got? The motto for the season is just do it. Get to the Super Bowl. 100%. That's going to be the expectation. That's what everybody's here to see. If we get to the NFC title game again and lose another heartbreaker, yeah, that's going to be pretty deflating for the team, the coaches, and the fans, to be honest. All right, Jesse, what's happening, Duke gang? Detroit D, if we get that from those two, the secondary is going to be fire. Yes, I agree, because both of them, they can lock people up. You look at the similarities between both of them. And I know when we talked about Rakestraw, I said, hey, you watch it, his fluidity. You watch it, his way to use his foot placement and his elbows for, momentum when he gets out in and out of breaks or keeping up receivers in theirs. I think they're both very similar in that regard. I think Arnold's probably got a little bit better wingspan and ball hawking ability, but Rakestraw is no slouch at all. So, Detroit D, I think you're spot on with both guys' assessments. All right, see, Trey, what's good all? Question mark. I could never be a coach because all of the pressure and media attention they face. Everyone second guessing what you should have done would drive me crazy. Yeah, and I don't care what level nowadays you're at in sports. It is what it is. People are going to come after you. If your team doesn't perform right, they're going to throw stones at you. Hopefully not literally, just figuratively. But, yeah, they're going to come after you. I mean, I can tell you, even coaching at the high school level, I've had people slash my tires, key my car, talk bad about my mama. And you get to the college level, if you get to the higher up college levels, it can get pretty bad too. You can run into people that try to hunt you down, find your house. Professionally, it does change from where you're at in the world. But I can tell you, there have been times when I had to scout overseas or, man, I had to hightail it to the embassy for the U.S. Embassy in that particular state. And that's country. That's why Jen is not a fan of me scouting overseas as much anymore because, yeah, some people really do take it next level. All right, Frank Tank, what up, Doe? What up, Frank? Hopefully having a good morning. Frank Tank, what up, the Duke crew? Woo! And good morning to you too, Frank. Jason, greetings, salutations all. Dan Campbell is worth every penny. He's the pulse of the team. Superdome or bust. And I would agree. You want to talk about teams take on the persona, the personality of their coach. I think you're spot on with that, Jason. He is the Detroit Lions. They follow what he does. They are 100% in tune with him. So I agree with that. And don't forget, we got M Live Matt joining us here in just a few. We'll get through a few more comments before we bring him on air. I'm guessing he's sipping his morning Mountain Dew and having maybe a little blue Kool-Aid just to get him ready for the show today. All right, Lions fan number 1. Greetings, salutations all. Get the season here already. I want to see our defense attack. Hey, Coach, do you think this is the season J-Mo goes next level? I do. I think part of the reason why they didn't make a bigger push to keep Josh Reynolds is because what they saw emerging last year with Jamison Williams. And not just him, but Khalif Raymond and a collection of other guys, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Let's face it. Josh Reynolds was a great addition for the Detroit Lions. But you can't keep everybody. You can't pay everybody. Jamison Williams, he's got speed like very few people on planet Earth. He's got agility like very few humans alive. You add in all the stuff, and if you watch the show, when I do like breakdowns from a scouting standpoint, I guess you'd say, when you talk about, hey, this guy is incredibly rare, less than 1% of humanity has this that he has or whatever. I talk about that with James Houston a ton. Jamison Williams is in that same boat. I can't think of too many people that are breathing on planet Earth that can run the way he runs. Now, what he hasn't had, in my opinion, whether it was at Ohio State or Alabama, he hasn't really had a ton of coaching. when he came to the NFL, his foot placement, you want me to be honest, it sucked. His elbow usage, his hand usage, his ability to bump DBs and then break off to create separation, all those things. He had, in my opinion, had been taught very little of that coming into the league. He was just somebody in college that relied a ton on his athleticism. Now that he's got some of that development, now that he's got some confidence, you could see it late last year and then definitely in the playoffs, what he could do, the details that had been refined within him. And you know what? I really do think he's going to have an impressive season this year. So you got him out there. You got St. Brown, Laporta. Man, you got Khalif Raymond. You've got a galore of weapons for Goff and this offense to use. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. All right, Doug, Coach, it's got a long-term contract. Yeah, he's got a long-term contract. Got great long-term stars. Got a great owner and GM. He's got a culture he and a few others built with him. He went 1-6 in 2022, finished 9-8. That this ship will float. Yes, and hey, let's not forget the Lions were 1-6 when Peyton Manning and Jeff Daniels did the what do you want to call it, the removal of the curse at Ford Field with all the whiskey. So hey, since then, yeah, it's been no joke. The Lions have had massive turnaround. So maybe they really did get rid of the curse of Bobby Lane. All right, Frank Tank, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, the two dudes I would love to sit down and have a Mountain Dew with. Go Lions. Yeah, if I can set that up, Frank, I will make that happen. By the way, this segment is not sponsored by the Pepsi-Cola Company nor Mountain Dew, but if they want to, hey, I won't turn it down. Buddy, what do you got? Morning Dew Crew, back at you, buddy. Steve Rogers, who doesn't love Mountain Dew? Question mark. Laughing out loud, Coach. I don't know how you drink that all the time and still have teeth. Yeah, one a day keeps the doctor away. That's what I like to say, but I enjoy it to death. I get most people do not, though, or some people do not. As crazy as that may be to me. Anthony, good morning. Dew Crew family, back at you, Anthony. Thanks for all you do for the show. Quentin, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, y'all. Man, we need to be winning this year or people will turn on DC. I've seen that stuff before. It does happen in sports, 100%. People love you until you stop winning, and then they kick you to the curb pretty quick. So let's hope this isn't the year they do any kicking. All right, Phil, greetings and salutations. Phil's got the guitar of destiny in his thumbnail. So, yes, that is the Dew Crew guitar he made and sent on over. And again, Phil, thanks very much for that, man. You are very skilled. Hookadoo, good morning, Dan, the Dew Crew. Woo! Go Lions, 100%. And, just for you, man, I'm going to make this one happen for you. Always enjoy it. All right, Rocky, good morning, all. Hopefully we can handle being the hunted because it will be lonely at the top, and that's a good place to be. I'll go with that, yeah, and I think we'll be fine. I think we were hunted last year, but it's going to be another level this year, I would think. Man, that you want to talk about Stafford coming back in, wanting to play his best game of his career, it's probably going to be week one. Every team's going to be fairly fresh. People are going to have new plays that you don't have any film on. They're going to try to catch you off guard with some stuff. You're going to talk about two teams that are going to want to start their season off in great fashion. And the fact that the Lions basically get last year's playoffs in week 1 and 2, yeah, it's going to be a fun start to the year for Detroit Lions as long as we win. All right, buddy, what do you got? 22-8 last 30 games. The critics haven't figured it out yet. It's not a fluke. I would say at this point, you're right, buddy. It's not a fluke. But you know what? One of the things with sports, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It's what you do now. In every game, you're going to have to keep repeating that way. All right, we got about a minute here until we bring on Matt. So just a couple more questions before we get on over there. Doug, the only thing I worry about is our coaches don't gel. They should, but you never know. In 2020, fired the OC, 22, the DB coach, 23. You saw the podium and the excuses mid-season. Hey, it is what it is. The good thing going for us, Doug, is that the vast majority of the coaches on staff were here last year, so there should be a lot of familiarity. All right, okay, morning, Anthony, morning. Let's see, Doug, we got a bunch of new talent, Townsend, Williams, and huge expectations. The pressure really is on AG. That's our Super Bowl. I'll go with that. All right, guys, without further ado, it is about that time to bring on our special guest of the day. So, hey, what do you know? All right, so most of you guys probably know him. If not, you're going to get to know him. So we've got a man, the myth, the legend right now coming onto the show. Matt from M Live. Let's bring him on. Hey, good morning. Great salutations, Matt. How you doing today?
What's happening, Dan? Oh man, I'm living, man. This is a great day. Thank you for having me on. It's a fun, off season. Just excited about the trajectory of the Detroit Lions, and it's summertime, baby. So I'm kicking back a little bit, enjoying myself, hanging out, and yeah, it's good. How about you? How you living, Dan, and the Dew Crew?
Hey, every day is a mission with the Duke Crew, getting up in the morning, talking about stuff. And as you probably know, with it being summertime in sports, maybe the topics start getting a little bit dry this time of year. But you know what? No more. We're about a week away from training camp beginning. And the expectations that we've been talking about, ESPN had a topic yesterday on one of their radio outlets talking about Detroit Lions being one of the teams facing the most pressure going into the season, because of the expectations, because of what they've done last year, and to be fair, the year before. They came this close to making the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of people across the NFL community that believe if the Lions would have made it, they would have won it. So let me ask you, Matt, you're MCDC right now. Do you feel a ton of pressure entering this season?
I mean, there's pressure there, but you have to accept that. Like at this point, yeah, I mean, there's going to be expectations, just based off of what you did last year. But I feel like you embrace that, and I don't know, just listening to a lot of the players, not Dan Campbell. I haven't heard of anything what he said, but they still feel like they're the underdog. I mean, listening to St. Brown. Just on that receiver show on Netflix, he still feels like, it's people consider this team the same old Lions. Like they're using that stuff as motivation for this upcoming season. So, I think, the expectation should be there, but you embrace that and you just kind of roll with it at this point. He's built this thing and it's going in the right way. You remember a couple of years ago now, 3 years ago, when he first came in and Amon-Ra St. Brown caught that touchdown pass against the Minnesota Vikings to win it at the buzzer. That was pretty much it. That was, the turning point. And from there, he's built this thing and, yeah, of course there's pressure, but you like I said, I think you embrace it and you roll with it. And there's no reason for, this team to not, go backwards. It's all, full steam ahead at this point. And you've got one of the most talented rosters in the NFL right now. So just embrace it, baby. That's what it is right now. And who cares if there's pressure or not? It's all within. He knows how to, lead a team, and it's looking damn awesome right now to be a Lions fan.
So Jared Goff this offseason gets paid a contract. There was a percentage of the fan base, I won't say it was half of them or anything, but there was a percentage that thought maybe the Lions should take that money and invest it somewhere else. Hendon Hooker potentially would be the answer to all of our problems, be the savior, because it'd be cheaper and he's mobile. You look at Jared Goff, he's, I guess you could say, a grizzled vet now. He's, whatever it is, 8 to 10 years in the league. What kind of pressure do you think he's facing now that he's gotten paid and the expectations, the Lions, are Super Bowl or bust?
Yeah, I think there is some significant pressure on Jared Goff. I mean, he's coming off arguably one of his best seasons of his career, taking his team to the NFC Championship game, a couple of plays away from another Super Bowl appearance. And, he's got everything else around him. He's got all the weapons. I mean, arguably the same offense. He's got his coordinator back. So, yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of money to his name right now. There is a ton of pressure on Jared Goff. But I believe in this quarterback. I'm going to tell you right now. Hang on just a second, Dan. I got you something.
All right. Hold on.
Hang on.
You know
what I'm saying?
There we go.
You see it?
I like it, man. I like it.
Everything.
I can see it, man. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
Like father, like son. It's the Step Brothers shout out, and I believe in Jared Goff, man. He's got the confidence back. He's got the swagger, and he might not be as mobile as all these other quarterbacks out there in the league, but he's efficient. I feel like he's revitalized his football career. He's relied on the run game here, and he's just magnificent in play action. He's just man. You don't want to get that guy in play action because he will shred a defense, and you've seen it time and time again. And I'm just really excited, for him to, embrace that pressure and go prove this contract.
So the Lions have one of the NFL's potentially best young teams, and the number of guys on the NFL's top 25, under 25. You got a bunch of guys that are in Pro Bowl consideration. A ton of this talent is in year 4 or less as far as their NFL experience. So, what would you say are some of the strengths going into this season for both the offense and defense for this team?
On offense, you gotta think speed right off the top, right? I mean, one of the couple fastest players in the NFL, and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams. And then arguably, I mean, I might say it, one of the 3 best tight ends in the league right now, coming off of last year, Sam Laporta. I mean, look at that guy. In his first season, he was just outstanding, especially contested catches. Is insane the way he was able to make some of these catches across the middle. And then the way he's able to just willingly go in and block. I mean, I think he's going to be the best tight end in the league here in probably a couple of years, if not, this next year. So we've got a great offensive line. Almost everybody's back, and which you didn't get back. And Jonah Jackson, you kind of retooled with another Pro Bowler in Kevin Zeitler. So, man, I know people are like, we didn't pick up another wide receiver, yada, yada. But listen, I think Jameson Williams is due for a big season. And Dan, I know you're high on him. He's more comfortable. I mean, he's missed so many games in his first 2 years. So, this is it. Like, this is the season for him, I feel like, to really explode. And you saw that in spurts last year, the way he's able to take the top off the defense, the way he took the reverse in the NFC Championship game for a touchdown, that game-breaking speed. I mean, there's really no other player in the NFL. And I don't want to say Deshaun Jackson, kind of. I mean, that guy, I don't want to comp him too early, but I'm just excited for him to actually have a full season under his belt. And, Khalif Raymond is a nice tool to have. And, hey, I don't know too much about this Antoine Green kid, but there's been a lot of noise and a lot of talk, especially around my buddies, about him coming in and making some plays for our team. So offensively, you bring back one of the best duos in running backs, and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They had outstanding seasons last year, and Ben Johnson really loves to rely on that running game and use the play action. So he's a creative wizard. So I'm excited to see another season with him calling plays. And then defensively, man, I mean, we attacked it. We addressed what we needed to do. I was thinking pass rusher last time on your show. I had some names out there, but hey, listen, we upgraded our secondary, to say the least. Got some just outstanding players in the draft, and Terry and Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. I mean, Arnold has the ability to be just a true star in this league, I think. So the secondary is retooled. Ife Melifonwu, I'm excited to see what he can do, and kind of hopefully a starting role next season. And then you get Carlton Davis in a trade, just an experienced veteran, along with Amik Robertson. So that secondary is kind of loaded right now if you look at it. Players everywhere. And then you bring back a lot of pieces. You get DJ Reader in the middle, and then you pair him with Aleem McNeil. So we should have no problems stopping the run again. And yeah, man, the expectations are high, because look at the talent loaded at every single position. It's just an exciting time to be a Lions fan.
So last year, I think most would say that the offense was the strength of this team. Defense did come on a little bit, especially later in the year. In the playoffs, they did enough to win 2 games. Arguably, if they hold on a couple of interceptions in that NFC title game, maybe the Lions are in the Super Bowl. How much better do you think this defense will be over a year ago? And really, what do you think will scare other teams the most about the defense?
I think they're much improved just on just what we did for the secondary, just upgrading that. Yeah, you add some awesome pieces. I'm excited to see what Brian Branch can do this season in the nickel position. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to see what the pass rush can do now that we have a full set of cover guys. I'm expecting a big season from Aiden Hutchinson, and then Marcus Davenport, if he can stay healthy. I mean, he's produced before
Yeah.
where he's been. So, and then the players behind him, John Kaminsky is kind of a power energy guy that I think can make some noise again this year. And what was the second part of your question, Dan? Sorry.
Just what do you think? If you're the opposing team, what it makes you sleepless at night about Detroit Lions defense, or what are you fearing the most about the Lions D?
It's the secondary. I think now it's kind of it's crazy. I haven't seen a secondary like this from the Detroit Lions in my lifetime. Just loaded at every position, truly, and guys that can come up and have ball hawking skills and also can lay a hit across the middle willingly. I mean, you look at Kirby Joseph. He's been known for that ever since he's been in the league, and they're just ball hawkers, man. Him and Terry and Arnold are probably going to be some of the most fearsome guys. You don't want to throw their way because they're going to be able to come up with some big plays, and it's got to be that secondary, in my opinion.
So it seems like the Lions have the most balanced team they've had probably since the early 90s as far as offense, defense, etc. And yet they still have $40.5 million in cap space. If you're Brad Holmes right now, are you looking at maybe going a little shopping, maybe saying, hey, I'm going to go on a spending spree before the season or maybe during the season? If you are, what are you going after?
I would say pass rusher. I think you can never have enough, edge rushers in this league. And judging by the injuries that Davenport's had, he kind of looking a tiny bit thin at that position. So I was kind of surprised they didn't address it in the draft as much as I thought they were going to. I would say pass rusher, definitely address that. And I like our linebacking core. I think it's solid, but I think I don't know. I would love to see a guy that has elite speed out there. And there's nothing against Jack Campbell or Alex Anzalone because I think they're outstanding linebackers. But I just think there's a game breaker kind of in this day and age at the linebacker position. You got to have some elite speed and elusiveness in space to create some big plays, create some forced fumbles, stuff like that. I think it'd be fun to have, a really just a kind of that guy, in the middle of your defense to really beef it up. I think, let's go, baby. Aiden Hutchinson, let's go. I think at those two positions, I'd like to see something happen.
So what you're saying is, you've got a little bit of breaking news that the Detroit Lions are going to sign maybe, I don't know, Lawrence Taylor or J.J. Watt. Is that what you're saying? They're going to go out and get one of these guys to come out of retirement? So, all right, we got breaking news live in here for everybody. All right, Matt. So, hey, what would you say would be a realistic, in your opinion, expectations for the halfway point of the season Lions record to be? What would be acceptable to you? What would be the high end and low end, halfway through the season?
So what's that, 9 games?
Yeah, 8 or 9 games, right around there.
I would say like a 5-2 would be nice to have.
Wouldn't be bad.
Like soaring high expectations, 6-1. That'd be crazy. But I think 5-2 is solid.
Okay.
I think that's a good record to have there.
And then I got one last question before I let you get out of here. All right, who scares you most in the NFC North to challenge the Detroit Lions? Would it be Minnesota, Chicago, or Green Bay?
It's the Packers.
Who's your big worry?
It's the Packers, man. They keep me up at night. They keep me tossing and turning. Oh man, just Jordan Love. Why does Green Bay always have to have, this next quarterback in line, just waiting under the wings? I didn't think it was going to happen again, but gosh dang it. Jordan Love, he scares me, man. He's just got that kind of, he emulates Rodgers, and you can see it. He's just got that ability to get outside the pocket. He's got a great arm, and he shredded us last year, in that second game. And man, I don't know, those young receivers that they have, they're just only going to get better. They had a pretty darn good defense to begin with last year. So I think those other teams, you look at Minnesota and you look at Chicago, I think they're, obviously a couple years away from being true contenders, but they could get frisky this year. I mean, it's the NFL, man. Anything can happen. But it's Green Bay, dude. I mean, come on. They've been, one of the premier teams in the league for across its history, and here they are coming again. And I think it's going to be us at the top, just, going at it for the division for sure this year. What do you think, Dan?
I'm with you, man. The Packers, and I'll say this: you go from Don Majkowski, and I get most people watching probably don't remember him as the quarterback in the '80s, but the Magic Man. I mean, he was not great until the game was on the line, and then he'd just find a way to win. So they called him Don Majkowski. Then you get some kid named Brett Favre who comes on over and breaks the Lions' hearts time and time again. And then you go to Aaron Rodgers, and now apparently Jordan Love is the heir apparent. So we will see what shakes out. I know there's some people who are going to say the Bears are going to challenge. I'm a USC guy. I love Caleb Williams to death. I also think Caleb Williams is going to have to evolve his route reading in order to make it at the NFL level. But we'll see. Maybe he'll just shake and bake and be a Rookie of the Year candidate. All right, Matt, why don't you go ahead and give us a shout-out. Tell everybody watching about yourself, where they can find you, read your stuff, all that kind of stuff. And, again, thanks for coming on the show again.
Hey, thank you, Dan, for having me. It was awesome to be here again. I always love hanging out with you and the Do Crew. I'm gonna have to get one woo at the end of this. You already know, but I'm gonna keep that down right now. I'm just gonna talk about myself a little bit. I'm Matt Ehler. I'm a sports reporter from MLive. Been working at MLive for almost 2 years now. Cover the greater Kalamazoo area high school athletics and Western Michigan athletics as well. Just love what I do. Get to cover so many different sports coming into the football season here shortly in about a month or so. So looking forward to that. But you could follow me on Twitter at Matthew Ehler. You can look me up on MLive, mlive.com/Matthew Ehler. It's a fun job. I love what I do. I get to cover so many different things. And just looking forward to another exciting high school football season. And then right after that, you get high school basketball season. That's arguably my favorite time of year. So, it's a fun job, and look me up. Definitely got some stories going to be cooking up here in the next couple of weeks with high school football media days on the horizon. So look out for those. Man, it's a fun job. I don't really call it work. It's just an awesome opportunity. So I got to get one last thing in here. So let me stand up and get a little, woo, baby, let's go.
There you go, man. The Do Crew appreciates that. All right, Matt. Hey, man, thanks a ton for coming on the show. Hopefully you had a little fun with it, and we'll have to try to schedule another one here in a month or two once the season gets rolling. So maybe even get you on one of the game-by-game casts or something. So. All right, Matt, you have a great morning. Thanks for coming on, and we'll catch you on the next Lions Talk Live, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Dan. As always, appreciate you. Have a good one.
You too, man. All right, that is Matthew Ehler for MLive. Join us here today. Want to thank him for his time and coming on over. So, hey, great guy, knows a ton about sports, and, hey, rough living, man, getting paid to watch sports and write about sports. So I do miss being a beat reporter on different teams and different outlets. So, all right, getting back to the Do Crew, though, in the comments section. Bo, try not to understand. All right, there you go. Matthew, Moonscar, skip Green Bay. Yes. Moonscar, Free gummy bears. Yes, free gummy bears today only. Dennis, thank you, Matt. Yeah, Matt, good dude, man. Good dude, good reporter. Working his way up. I forgot to tell him to apply for that Detroit news position. So I'll have to shoot him a text about that. Brent, new DC in Green Bay. How long will it take for the players to get comfortable with the new systems? Anytime you have a new guy, especially if there's new terminology and sets, it does take some time. But I know we've talked about this before, Brent, on the show. I think that is why the NFL has kind of moved out of having divisional games week 1, 2, 3 of the season. They push them back at least about a month and a half, it seems now, to let everybody kind of use those games as your old school preseason games. So works for me. Hey, it keeps a little bit of opportunity for coaches and new players to get adjusted before the games that count, exponentially more than others. Let's see, Miles, have fun, Matt, 100%. Good dude to have on the show, and need to probably ask him if he wants to come on a little bit more. Moonscar, good luck, Matt. Use spell check before posting articles, unlike every other M Live report. Yes, he does. He does a good job. And, hey, true story, the office he works for used to be the Kalamazoo Gazette, where that was either my first or second reporting stop when I got out of college and stuff and into sports reporting, and to be fair, into investigative reporting. And back then we didn't have spell check, man. So I murder the English language on a daily basis. All right, JDC, do they make blue yummy gummy lions? That I don't know. So you'll have to ask somebody and get a report on that, JDC. I just don't know. Miles, woo! There we go. Bo, this woo's for you, Matt. There we go. JDC, one do crew yell on 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah, and you know what? Hey, just because we're in such a woo-rific moment. Always love it. Hookadoo. Laughing out loud. Thanks, Matt. Don Burr, ban the woo, Lord knows. Hey, we'll work on that, Donnie. We'll work on that. And good to see you, man. It feels like it's been a minute. Buddy, Western Michigan and Paw Rules. All the above. Yes, 2 places I know well. Moonscar, JDC, that's a good idea. All different do flavors. Hey, maybe you can come up with that, Moonscar. Paw does rule, buddy, 100%. Yeah, I would assume you would know that, Moonscar. Hookadoo, woo! There we go. Chuck E. Cheese, let's go, Lions. I not worried about any team. Hey, there we go. Beat them down and beat them off. See, Don, too early to be screaming. Always, man. Always too early. JDC, defense wins the, quote, big ones. I think you're right. I think our defense is going to make a huge impact this year. Bo, try to understand he's a magic man. And he was. And apparently, if you're talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about Don Majikowski, the Magic Man. Apparently, he was a heck of an artist, like renowned artist. I only learned that, I think, later in the 90s or something like that. I was doing a story for, I don't know, maybe it was the Associated Press or something like that. But, he had a brief stay with Detroit Lions, and I had to interview him. And, it was one of those interviews that eventually went on long enough where we started talking about stuff about not sports. And, he kind of just opened up about personal life and things. And, apparently he is a very well-renowned artist. All right, JDC, heart, thumbs up. Yep. All right, Doug, I got you, Bo Booth. There, all right. Hookadoo, heart, Green Sisters. There we go. Grit. Motown. Oops, wrong button there. But how would you find a missing Broski? Hopefully Broski returns soon, but I know he said something about wanting to take a little bit of a time off. So, hey, before the season gets going, let him take a little bit of a break. Let's see, DM5, Dan, good morning. Do you think you can land a former Lion on the show like Herman Moore or Lomas? It's possible for sure. Reach out to somebody and try to get someone. To me, I would like to get maybe like Rodney Peete. Gosh, man, maybe Benny Blades. I don't know, man. There's probably a couple other people I could come up with. Maybe Golden Tate. So I think that would be fun too. But there's a ton of guys we could try to get. All right, see, Doug, have you ever had a woman guest? Yes, Krista Robertson. She's a media influencer. I've had her on. It's probably been about 2 months since she's been on. But I'm trying to get her, like I said at the start of the show, trying to get her lined up. Maybe, gosh, Sundays are tough for her because I know she does a lot of stuff with her church. Maybe I'll see if I can get Friday since we still have an open slot for Friday. Let's see, buddy, is there a chance to get a Lions player on? Yeah, there's always a chance. I can reach out to a couple. It's just, the tough part I run into with guests, just full disclosure, is they say, what time? Nah, I'm good. There's a lot of people that, 7:30, 7:45 a.m. doesn't work. I know Jeff Risden, when he had him on, he was like, sure, I'll come on the show. And I said, what time? He was like, a.m.? Are you sure? Yeah, it's a tough time for some people, but I will try to make some calls on that. Hookadoo Broski is in Troll Summer Camp. Could be working on some new skills. All right, Don, I ran Broski out of here. That could be also. Let's see, Minnie, what do you got? Don Burr from the Bears Pods Daily. He enjoys Bears content much more than Lions content. Hey, it's good to have a diversified amount of content in your future. JDC Don Burr, Buddy Christ said he's not banning the woo. Yeah, no, yes, the woo is free and safe here. See, Don, not sure what that means. Skip the Bears for life 100%. We'll go with that. And the Bears, hey, they are the enemy. Amy, if you're going to get a former Lion, think big. Barry Sanders would be awesome. I'll see if I can get Barry Sanders to agree to come on. We'll see. I will say this. It's been pointed out to a number of you guys through texts or Facebook messages that apparently the woo, there's like actually people excuse me, on other shows or whatever that have become familiar with the woo and stuff like that. So apparently the woo is a known thing about Lions Talk Live. And I won't get into spoilers, but it could be playing into something as far as an intro for the show. And we'll have to wait and see in the next week or two. Don, always lurking on every Lions pod. There you go. Miles Barker, Don, you're always out there on those pods, stirring things up, bro. Seen many times. There you go. Even Megatron, yes, buddy. I will. I'll put in a request. We'll see what shakes out. All right, guys, time for me to get on out of here. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. About 30 subs away from 6,900, and then we're got the march on to 7,000. If you would be so kind, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it to you as quick as I can when time allows, obviously. Otherwise, stay safe, do something kind for someone else, and we'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.